Hello and welcome to the Sports Shield podcast. Today is Thursday, October 6th, and we have a huge weekend in sports coming up. It's going to be a quick one. We're going to make some picks, talk about the MLB postseason a little bit. You want to start us off, Quinn?
Starting us off, we're going to kick it off with Bears versus the Vikings. The home team. So, Bears. I don't think the Bears are it this season. They've been bad, to say the least. I've tried to be hopeful, but I'm easily taking the Vikings on this one. It's going to be Justin Jefferson, especially if Jalen Johnson is out, which it looks like he will be. I mean, the Bears are going to be toast, and anybody who has Justin Jefferson should start him or try and trade for him because he is going to score 60 points in fantasy this week.
Yeah, Vikings are probably going to roll right over the Bears. Give me the Vikings in this one, too. Next up, we have Bengals Ravens on Sunday Night Football. The Bengals have bounced back from a rough start, and they put up a lot of offense last week. The Ravens defense is not looking good, man. They've choked two 20-point leads in the past couple of weeks. Give me the Bengals in this one. Joe Burr. Go for it.
I'm going to take the Ravens this one. Their defense has been bad. I really hope they can have that clutch factor in their defense because I saw a stat the other day that they are 2-2 right now, and they have only trailed in 13 seconds out of both games. They have been in the lead or tied for all of those games. I think it's just the Ravens defense needs to step up, and I think they will this game against their rivals, Bengals. I'm going to take the Ravens on this one. Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow will ever be.
And then last up on Monday Night Football, we have the Raiders and the Chiefs. This one's going to be a blowout. The Raiders have not been good. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the ball all over the place. Derek Carr will not be able to keep up.
Yeah, it's a big rivalry matchup. I'm going to say the same thing as Zach here. I think Chiefs are a pretty easy pick. Derek Carr isn't as good as Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes is just it. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and will retire as the greatest quarterback of all time. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here. I think their team's more well-rounded, especially with that elite offense.
Yeah, the AFC West got kind of overhyped coming into the season, didn't it?
Yeah, all these teams were going for big hitters, but then you realize that one of those teams can't be the best because what happens is you face other good teams. How many times is it? 8 times a season, right? You're facing your Six times a season, you're facing another team, and it's when you're in an elite division, you sometimes have to bite the bullet and realize we can just plan our future out right now. It's a great time. We're in a too competitive division. And I think the Raiders made the mistake. They've been trying to rebuild, and they haven't done it. So,
all right. And other news: the MLB postseason starts this week, tomorrow night, with the AL and NL wild card. It's a 3-game series this year, all hosted by the higher seed, which is a change from last year. So we have the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Cleveland Guardians, the Philadelphia Phillies versus the St. Louis Cardinals, the Seattle Mariners versus the Toronto Blue Jays, and the San Diego Padres versus the New York Mets. You want to make a couple of picks, Quinn?
I want Tampa Bay to win the series against Cleveland. I think a lot of people do. So, pretty simple choice there.
I am a White Sox fan, tried and true. I've been watching the Guardians beat up on the White Sox all year. And despite, I think these are two really analytically minded clubs that are going to put up some good series, but I think the experience for Tampa Bay is going to kick in and they're going to come through.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to staying in the American League, rather, we have the Mariners versus the Blue Jays, two young, exciting teams. This is the first time the Mariners are in the playoffs since 2001, which was the longest playoff drought in North American sports. It's going to be electric in Toronto with the Blue Jays not having hosted a wildcard series since in the mid-2010s. Give me the Blue Jays in this one. The home field environment factor is going to be way too high.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what they did when the Raptors were playing, and Toronto's really going to rally behind the Blue Jays. I'm going to take the Blue Jays on this one also.
All right, now moving into the National League, another team that broke a long playoff drought, the Philadelphia Phillies, face off against one of the MLB's best franchises, the St. Louis Cardinals. This is a loaded matchup because you have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, who are probably going to finish in the top 5 of the MVP, National League MVP. And then on the other side, you have Kyle Schwarber, who leads the National League in home runs, plus Bryce Harper, last year's MVP. So it's going to be a huge series. Give me the Cardinals in this one. I think their brand of defense and base running and fundamental baseball is going to carry them to a win over the slugging Phils.
Yeah, it really hurts me to say this, but St. Louis Cardinals, they're higher seeded. I think they're just going to be the better team. They're more well-rounded, and a lot of things are going to become better than the Phillies.
And finally, in the National League, we have the Padres versus the Mets. The Mets absolutely choked their division away while getting swept against the Braves late in the season. And the Padres have been solid all year after swinging a couple huge blockbusters at the deadline. I'm going to have to go with the Mets in this one. They're starting Scherzer and DeGrom as the first two games in a wild card series. Those are two of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. I don't think the Padres, despite all their power hitters, are going to be able to come over that.
Yeah, I really think that the Padres are becoming a surprisingly, what's the word for it? Common team to root for, because it's a lot of star power, and that's really what are getting people into the MLB. That's something that the MLB has been struggling with for years. I'm going to root for the Padres on this one. I'm going to say they're going to win it.
All right. Well, that's all the news we have for you today. It's an amazing sports weekend. Make sure you sit down and watch some. Got a big rivalry game coming up this week, Geneva-Batavia. Hope to see you there. Go Vikings.